Hello everybody, my name is Niku and welcome to the Trading Setup channel where we explore the world of trading. The goal of this channel is to teach people how to trade. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time, but trust me, it's worth it in the end. The learning also doesn't just take place on this YouTube channel, but in my free Telegram trading community, where I share strategies, tips, educational material, and give out bonuses. So make sure you join by clicking the link in the description or click the QR code on the screen. Now, let's head over to the platform and dive into today's strategy. So before we start trading, we're going to need to set up our platform. So we're going to do that. I'm going to explain to you guys what the strategy is that we're going to be using today. And then we're going to flip through some assets and see if we can pick up some trades. Now, the first thing we're going to do today is make sure that our candle time is set to 30 seconds. And then we just want to make sure that our expiry time, is set to just 1 minute. Okay, so 1 minute expiry, 30-second candles. Next up, we're going to add the MACD. We're going to leave it on default settings. We're not going to change anything about the MACD. So what we're going to look for is first thing we're going to look for is whether the MACD and the signal line is above or below the zero line. Now this will be the ideal type of movement that we see here. So we're going to look for areas where the MACD is, like I said, above or below the zero line. Next up, we're going to look for crossovers. And if the MACD is below the zero line, we're going to look for bearish crossovers. And when the MACD is above the zero line, we're going to look for bullish crossovers. So here's an example of a crossover that occurred, and we would have taken a sell trade on this candle here. Okay, so we're going to be looking for that. There's another example. We could have taken a sell trade there on the crossover. Would have been good. So we're going to look for bullish and bearish crossovers. There's an example of a bullish crossover. The MACD and the signal line was well above the zero line, and it did a bearish crossover. We ignore the bearish crossovers, but we're looking for these bullish crossovers. And as we can see, we had some great movement there. You could have gotten in on any of these candles and you would have had a good entry. So that's what we're going to look for, and that's the strategy we're going to use. Now that we're all set up, we're going to start flipping through some assets and see if we can pick up some trades. So right, let's get trading. We're going to flip through assets. We're going to start at the top of the list and just going to go through. We're going to look at OTC and at normal market assets. As long as the payouts are decent, we're going to be looking at all of them. So this will work in OTC or normal market. Let's just change that. So we're just going to flip through some assets, and first thing we're just going to see if there's an asset where the MACD is below the zero line or above the zero line, and then we're going to see if we get if there's maybe a crossover happening, a crossover on the horizons for us. Excuse me, this looks like we might get a decent entry here. We're going to wait and see if the crossover actually takes place. You need to keep in mind that most indicators use the closing price of a candle to calculate the indicator value. So while this candle is open, the closing price of this candle keeps changing. It's only when a new candle forms that this will be fixed. So we're going to wait for the close of the candle, because if at the moment we have a crossover, but if this candle pushes up and goes green, by the time it closes, the crossover will not happen. So we're going to wait for the close of this candle just to confirm that there is an actual crossover, and then we're just going to get in. Candle closed beautifully red, and it confirmed the crossover for us on the close of this candle. So we're going with a bearish crossover while the MACD is below the zero line. It's as simple as that. And now we just need to wait for our timer to run out. We'll see how this trade goes. We're almost halfway through it. There's the halfway mark, 30 seconds left on this, and it's dropping beautifully. And it keeps going red. Beautiful trade. 20 seconds, 15 seconds left basically on this. Beautiful, beautiful entry. And this is the kind of entries we want. There we go. It was a good one, a good entry. This is the kind of movement you want on the MACD as well. You do not want those lines to be running together. Sometimes they'll be running like this. So if the MACD movement is like this and you can't really see if the lines are crossing or not crossing, just ignore it. This is a beautiful, beautiful example of something we will not touch using this strategy. You cannot see what's happening there, so we don't want once the MACD starts doing something like this on an asset, just go to a next asset and completely ignore it from there on. But this was a beautiful clean crossover, no doubts about where it crossed, and this is the kind of stuff we're going to be looking for. Now we'll just skip through some look at some more assets and see if we get an entry. Also keep in mind that for the strategy, we want the crossovers to happen away. Here's actually a nice example of something I don't take. The MACD on this, we can see that the MACD actually dropped below the zero line here. All right, so these crossovers needs to occur above the zero line. So if it's close like this, I don't take them. We could clearly see the I don't remember where I took that entry now. We can we can clearly see that this is a little bit too close for my liking. I like it when the crossovers happen away from the zero line. If it's on or very, very close to the zero line, I do not take these entries, because quite often this will just reverse on you. So let's see if we can find something somewhere else. We did miss a beautiful trade here. There was a beautiful crossover on that. Don't worry if you miss trades. We're gonna miss a few during the course of the day. Would have been a beautiful buy on this candle here. I am actually tempted to take this, but this is pushing way too much. If I did get in here, I would have been very comfortable. Getting in here now for me is a bit risky. We missed this entry by a few seconds, unfortunately, but it's fine. I'm not going to take entries where I just missed a decent signal from my strategy. I'm going to wait and find one where I can actually time it nicely and get in at a good position where I want to get in. Okay, so we're moving down payouts. Let's go back up again. Because this is a 30-second chart, you can actually cycle through the charts fairly quickly, and the conditions will keep changing. You might not see an entry on an asset, but 4 or 5 minutes later you will get an entry on that asset. So just keep cycling through the charts if you're using this. Let's see, we might get a bearish crossover here, but this needs to drop now. If this keeps pushing upwards, this is definitely going to pull my MACD even closer to the zero line. And like I said earlier, I don't like it when the MACD is close or on the zero line. If this pulls away, we can see that the MACD has been beautifully bearish for quite some time, and we can see that on the chart, on the price action as well. Price has kept dropping. In general, yes, there's been some upwards movement, but in general it's been coming downwards quite a bit. So we're just going to wait and see if we get the crossover here. Histogram is slowing down nicely, and when it's on zero, it's telling me that the crossover is happening. So I'm going to wait for the close of this candle, because if this candle pushes up now, which could happen, I might get the crossover will pull apart again. So I'm not going to risk taking a entry that's not confirmed. If I have any doubts, I'll just skip it, but we'll take one on the close of this candle. There we go. This is the definite confirmed crossover, and now we just need to wait for the timer to run out. So a lot of people seem to think, this is quite interesting, a lot of people that I talk to seem to think that the histogram is connected with volume or something like that. In fact, it's not. The only thing that the histogram actually shows you is the distance between the MACD and the signal line, and that's it. That's why you will always get on a crossover, your histogram will have a zero value, because there's no distance between the two lines. So as long as these lines are moving apart from each other and opening up, the histogram will be climbing. We can see that here. These lines are opening up, and as they're opening up, my histogram keeps opening up as well. And when they started pulling together, we got the histogram dropping a little bit, and it started dropping quite a bit here when it's to the point where the crossover took place. And then now the histogram is increasing on the bearish side, because the MACD is in a bearish direction at the moment. And but it's still increasing because these lines are pulling away from each other. So that's all that the histogram actually shows you on the MACD. It's how far these lines are apart. Why is that important though? It gives you an idea of how strong the current move is. So we can see an example here. These lines are, if we take the average distance of the lines in this whole area here, we can see that this huge sell-off here had a massive, this was by far the widest that the MACD and the signal line were apart from each other, and we can see the way that the MACD, that the histogram increased as well. It just makes it a little bit visually easier for us to see this. But yes, it's only the distance between the histogram and the MACD. Oh, sorry, the signal line and the MACD. The distance between those is displayed on the histogram. It's just that. It's very important. I can't stress this enough when I speak to people. I speak to people so often, especially about strategies and stuff. People ask a lot of questions about strategies, but it seems to me that very few people truly understand the indicators that they're actually using. Your indicator displays a certain type of data derived from price action. That's what an indicator does. And that's why we get different indicators. It shows you different types of data. And if you want to use an indicator as part of a strategy, it's really, really important that you actually understand the data that the indicator is showing you, because you are making decisions based off the data that you see. And if you don't understand the data, you are basically guessing. We might get a buy. We should get a buy trade here. I'm going to take, whoops, wanted to do that. Let's go with it. Oh, that last one got in a bit late. Let's see what happens. So we're using the data from an indicator to make decisions so that we know where to enter, where in price movement we should enter our trades. And if you, again, like I said, if you don't understand the data that your indicator is actually showing you, you're not going to be able to make a informed decision. You're basically going to be guessing. And it's a very, very bad strategy to guess. If I were to guess what's going to happen on with candles and stuff, I get it wrong most of the time. Excuse me. I get it wrong most of the time. But if we understand the data that our indicators are showing us, we will simply be following what the price action is doing. And that's actually fairly easy once you wrap your head around the concept that we're not predicting, we're simply following the data that the indicators are showing us. That entry was good as well. So yes, it's a very simple strategy. We do need to, again, like I said, first thing you're going to do is look whether the MACD is above or below zero. We don't want it on like action when it's this revolving around the zero line like this. Stay off the asset, just ignore it. We want nice, we want the MACD to flow nicely up and down, either above or below. And then we're going to look for bullish crosses on when it's above and bearish when it's below, and just stay out of it if it's, when the MACD is hovering around the zero line. Hope you guys enjoyed this. As you can see, a good strategy is key to success, but that's not all. You need to learn the basics of trading to understand what you are doing. Otherwise, your trades will be random and chaotic, and that's not how we trade. If you still feel you lack the necessary knowledge, join my private community. To get in, just send me a message directly. You'll find the link in the description. I'll do a short survey with you to understand your goals and level of knowledge, and then I'll send you an invitation. So what do we get in my group? My full support, guides, and effective tools. Free, but spots are limited, so make sure you join today. That's it for this week's video, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, may the pips be with you.